Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name is Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. In the aftermath of Trev Albert's goodbye to Nebraska, the university's inability to name a new president is under fire. At issue is an 8-year-old decision that put the Regents' choice well behind closed doors. Joe Jordan has more.
The University of Nebraska has been without a permanent president going on some 7 months now. And some critics argue that slow roll led, at least in part, to Athletic Director Trev Albert's decision to pack his bags for Texas A&M. Yes or no, the ground rules surrounding the Board of Regents' selection process of the next president, considered by some as way too secretive, is being challenged.
It's been way too secretive since they passed LB 1109 back in 2016, which allowed them to only announce a priority candidate of one and present that to the public.
We used to get to know the final four, in effect.
Correct, yeah, the final 3 or 4, and that's the law right now that handles school boards, the community and state colleges in the state, but they exempted the universities specifically so they didn't have to announce their finalists.
Mike Kennedy, current vice president of the Millard School Board and former board president, is also a former candidate for the Board of Regents. The argument for the secretive process is you'll get better candidates, you'll get more candidates.
I think if you have a good job, people will apply. We had no problems getting quality candidates at Metro Community College when I served on the board there and selected a president. I've selected 2 superintendents at Millard. We had no problem with that. And OPS just had a very successful search.
Do you think there's any chance that the legislature would overturn the 2016 law at this point in time?
Well, you're too late in the session, but I think maybe the legislature needs to get involved and tell the university, if you don't get your act together, we may have to revisit this law.
In Omaha, Joe Jordan, News Channel, Nebraska.
The group behind the push for medical marijuana in Nebraska says they hope the third time is the charm to get the issue on the ballot. Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana had similar efforts in 2020 and 2022. Both fail from a legal challenge and financial issues, respectively. The group looking for 2 initiatives right now. One would protect patients and caregivers. The other would issue regulations. The necessary requirements, 87,000 signatures from 5% of Nebraska counties by July 3rd.
We are sitting at about 24 counties qualified right now. Obviously, we are still collecting signatures from every county across the state. There is not a place we don't need signatures, but that is what sets this campaign apart from anything in the past, is our progress.
Over the weekend, the group hosted 50 different signings in 30 cities across the state, calling it their Shamrock Signing Saturday. Governor Jim Pillen has listed tax reform as a top priority for the state in the short session of the legislature, but time is ticking. Pillen wants to cut property taxes by 40%. Many others do as well. The tax reform packages could be on the floor by this week, according to the state legislature's Revenue Committee. State Senator Lou Ann Linehan says she's cautiously optimistic a tax bill will pass through the chamber this year.
I wouldn't bet the farm on it, but I think it can be done. It just depends. It depends like everything else down there. Any 5 senators can blow it up.
The governor has said he plans to call a special session if property taxes aren't lowered, but Linehan says that would be hard to pull off, especially in an election year. Now, she says it's wait and see time to see how the floor responds to the packages. Nursing homes have been closing down in Nebraska, and a bill in the unicameral currently considering raising nursing home reimbursement. The Nebraska Healthcare Association says 12 nursing homes in Nebraska have gone defunct over the past 3 years. Leaders in the organization say the biggest reason for this, insufficient Medicaid reimbursements. State Senator Myron Dorn introduced LB 130 on Friday. Lawmakers gave initial approval to the bill that increases the quality assessment fee that nursing homes pay.
By increasing this rate from the $3.50 to $9, it will bring in approximately another $23 million in federal funds.
Leaders with the NHA say this wouldn't completely solve the problems, but it would help keep nursing homes open. Another round of voting is needed before the bill can head to the governor's desk. In international news, Gaza could soon see a humanitarian disaster far worse than its current suffering. The Israeli Prime Minister defending and reiterating his plan to invade Rafah, where more than 1 million civilians are trapped and starving. Amy Kiley has more.
The U.S. is voicing concerns over civilian safety in Gaza, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu doubling down yesterday on his vow to invade Rafah.
The majority of Israelis support the policies that we're leading. Go into Rafah, destroy the remaining Hamas terrorist battalions.
He promises to evacuate the more than 1 million civilians there, but U.S. officials are skeptical.
The evacuation, they call it humanitarian islands, and we welcome any credible plan to take care of them, but we haven't seen it yet.
Getting innocent people out could be even harder than getting aid in. That's so difficult, the U.S. and other countries are building a floating dock to access Rafah by water.
It's going to probably take about 6 to 8 weeks or so for all the pieces to get in place and for it to become operational.
President Joe Biden is reiterating his call for a ceasefire and a two-state solution.
This is the only path for lasting peace and security.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calls Netanyahu an obstacle to such peace. He says Israel should hold a new election when the war winds down, drawing this response yesterday.
It's inappropriate for to go to a sister democracy and try to replace the elected leadership there.
The fact that Israel's most staunch defender in the U.S. Congress, Chuck Schumer, should be making these remarks should be an earthquake in Israel.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Lawmakers stateside, meanwhile, scrambling to avoid a partial shutdown ahead of a federal government funding deadline that's just days away. Congress spent months averting shutdowns at the 11th hour with stopgap bills. It finally passed a package of 6 bills earlier this month to fund a slate of government agencies for the rest of the fiscal year. But a number of key government operations still need to be funded by the end of day Friday. They include the Departments of Defense, Homeland Security, Labor, Health and Human Services, Education, State, and the legislative branch. Homeland Security has proven to be particularly thorny in the funding fight amid partisan disagreements over border policy. President Biden expected to sign a new executive order Monday to support women's health research. The White House says the order will prioritize women's health across federal agencies. That includes looking at gaps in federal funding when it comes to health issues that affect women, like menopause, arthritis, and heart disease. Biden has repeatedly signaled that reproductive health is a key part of his re-election campaign. In other women's health news, online sales began Monday for the first over-the-counter birth control pill approved in the U.S. O-Pill can be bought directly from its own website and from Amazon. Some major retail pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens have said they'll offer O-Pill once they receive their shipments. CVS says they expect to have theirs later this month. Manufacturer Perrigo has a suggested retail price of $20 for a 1-month supply, $50 for a 3-month supply. The company says when taken as directed, O-Pill 98% effective at preventing pregnancy. That's in line with the effectiveness of most birth control pills. Well, somebody could be the winner of over $800 million. That's right, the Mega Millions winner not drawn on Friday. It's now 28 drawings in a row without a ticket matching all the numbers. The jackpot has now risen to an estimated $875 million. The next drawing set for Tuesday. The odds are long, 1 in 302,575,350. Now, the odds are better for 68 teams who are dancing in March Madness this year, including the Nebraska men's basketball team for the first time in 10 years. It's the first trip ever for Rink Mast in his 5th year of college basketball. He caught up with our Jake Bartecki on Selection Sunday.
Well, for the first time since 2014, the Nebraska Cornhuskers and this man, Rink Mast, are going dancing. Rink, take me through the emotions when you saw the screen flash red and you saw you guys as the 8th seed.
It's pretty cool. Obviously, we've known for a little bit that we most likely made it, but to actually see your name on that screen and know where you're playing and who you're playing, it's a pretty special emotion, not one that I've experienced yet. This is my 5th year of college ball, and this is the first time that I made it. And I know for Nebraska it's been a long time, so a lot of really happy emotions.
For Fred Hoiberg, your head coach, I mean, what does this mean and how important is it to you that you guys got this done? I mean, he's worked so hard in his years at Nebraska here. To see the emotion on his face when this happened, what did it mean?
It was awesome. Like I've heard obviously all the time and effort that he's put into this program. I've only been a part of it this 1 year, but like you've seen the growth that he's tried to get into this program, and to finally see it pay off and get to this big stage, it's pretty special. Like on his face, you could definitely see it touched him, and I mean, he's not a guy that shows a lot of emotions a lot of times, but you could definitely see it, and to see how much it meant to him, and that it's just awesome to see.
I think you guys kind of captivated a lot of the country during the Big Ten tournament with Casey and you guys and the guys on the sideline and on courtside during the game. I mean, to have that kind of support from nationwide, people that might not have known a lot about Nebraska basketball, to have them in your corner, kind of looking at you guys at as America's team, what does that mean?
It's pretty special. Obviously, having Keisei, a little unassuming Japanese guy. I mean, he is, but to have him on the team definitely helps with bringing in a larger crowd. When we played Indiana, you saw that some of the other teams' fan bases kind of stuck around and watched that game, and to see all those people cheer for us it's pretty cool. Obviously with Keisei, but I think the rest of the team has some great character and some great guys that want to play for each other, and we play some fun basketball. So all of that I think helps a lot with just making it a fun game to watch and a fun team to cheer for. So it's pretty cool to not only have your own fan base, which is a great fan base, but also have other people from around the country that just love basketball in general also cheer for you. I am excited to see how well the Husker Nation travels to Memphis, but I'm sure we're going to have an amazing crowd over there.
It's just a 10-hour drive. People can make that trip, can't they?
Well, for a Dutch guy, for us, 2 hours is a far drive, but I've gotten used to the America's travel distances, and it amazes me how easy people make drives like that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to make that drive and already know them. We as a team are incredibly like thankful for you guys making that drive, but we're going to try and win some games there.
Awesome. Rink, congratulations. We'll see you at the tournament.
Thank you.
That's Rink Mast, Jake Bartecki covering the Huskers for NCN Sports Now.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook or Instagram as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.